Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and welcome to the Halloween Cup. This is a 1500 CP meta where the allowed typings are Poison, Bug, Ghost, Dark, and Fairy. And in the Halloween Cup, TOXAPEX reigns supreme. I tried out a TOXAPEX team consisting of Pawniard lead, Shadow Nidoqueen safe switch, TOXAPEX closer, and had some insane results with it in practice battles with members of my Discord. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out TOXAPEX in action in the Halloween Cup. Hopping into the first match, picking up a tough lead Pawniard into Azumarill. I save switch into Shadow Nidoqueen, and my opponent responds with Sableye. If I land this Earth Power, I can dictate switch advantage, so my opponent is going to be forced to burn an early shield. So now I've gotten shield advantage while also baiting out a counter to TOXAPEX, so Shadow Nidoqueen has done his job. Foul play is going to take me out, that's perfectly fine. I can bring in my Pawniard, and Pawniard resist everything that Sableye could throw at me. Sableye farms up quite a bit. I'm going to let this through, as I do survive whatever they throw. They go straight for the return, so now I can overfarm quite a bit here. I'm going to farm up, and then fire off the Night Slash, and this should just about take out the Sableye, and it barely does. That's big. Back in comes Azu, I bring in TOXAPEX, and their final Pokemon is revealed to be Shadow Alolan Marowak. Unfortunately, I accidentally throw on terrible timing, and I allow a Fire Spin through. As you can see, Brine does so much damage against the Alolan Marowak. They're going to start firing off Bone Clubs. While that does hit for super effective damage, honestly, TOXAPEX doesn't really care. Bone Club, able to land again. I continue to farm up, and I'm going to fire off the Brine. I do have a Night Slash loaded on my Pawniard. So what I'm going to try and do here is commit the shield, and then combo play into the Pawniard so I can get rid of the Marowak. In comes the Pawniard, and that is going to be taking out the Marowak. Let's go. Unfortunately, the Azu is going to get farm here. Azu, unfortunately, will be able to take me out before I get to an Iron Head, so I'm just going to fire off a Night Slash to get chip damage, and now TOXAPEX just needs to get to a Sludge Wave. This is going to be close. I will commit the shield. It's the play rough. TOXAPEX farming up, able to win CMP over Azumarill. Sludge Wave will be taking out the Azu, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Pawniard into TOXAPEX. I'm going to stay in this lead to start because I do want to land at least one Night Slash to hopefully put it into Earth Power range for later in the game. So I fire off the Night Slash, and that's able to land. I'm going to continue to farm up, wait for them to fire off their energy, tank the move, and then I am going to be safe switching into Nidoqueen to check for a poison counter. In comes Nidoqueen, and there's the poison counter. They have a Confusion Dustox. I build up to the Earth Power, and I'm baiting with the Poison Fang. Poison Fang, able to grab a shield. That's quite nice. Dustox is going to fire off a move before I get to the Earth Power. I'm not too familiar with Dustox's moveset, but I will commit a shield on the Sludge Bomb to make sure that I can land this second Earth Power. Opponent is going to commit the shield. I do get a defense drop as well, and that is quite nice. I'm going to bring in Pawniard. Since they're double debuffed, this Iron Head should be enough to KO and deny their energy. Down goes Dustox. Opponent brings back in TOXAPEX. I farm up, switch, and I'm able to catch onto my own TOXAPEX. That is quite nice. Brine just does absolutely nothing. In the back, they have Runerigus. And as you might have seen, this team is actually triple weak to ground types, but the nice thing is that Pawniard does actually beat most ground types in the meta, despite actually taking super effective damage from them. And on top of that, TOXAPEX is able to hit for super effective damage with Brine. They farm up quite a bit. They have to Shadow Ball to KO here. A Sand Tomb is not going to be enough. Opponent goes for the Sand Tomb. TOXAPEX, too tanky, able to survive it and fire off the Brine. Brine takes them out. Back in comes Pawniard, and Pawniard is going to be firing off the Night Slash. Night Slash, able to land. I am going to need another Night Slash as well as some farm to KO them here. I fire off the Night Slash. Night Slash is going to be getting them low. TOXAPEX is able to reach a move, but they do not have the back-to-back Brines here. Pawniard able to Fury Cutter down, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Pawniard into Incineroar. I'm going to check the fast move. They're running double kick, so I'm going to save switch into my Nidoqueen. This is enough for a Dark Pulse. I'm going to let it through, but Dark Pulse is going to do a ton of damage when it connects. Opponent is going to bring in Jellicent. I'm actually going to go for a Poison Fang here. The reason being, one Earth Power does not KO, whereas after I get that defense drop, now an Earth Power will KO, and this is going to force them to commit a shield. Earth Power does get shielded, and I'm able to grab shield advantage from this matchup. I'm going to bring in Pawniard. Pawniard is going to be able to tank the Shadow Ball as it is resisted. The unique typing of Pawniard definitely feels like it comes in clutch in this cup. I'm going to fire off the Night Slash. This will do a lot of damage onto the Jellicent, and it's actually able to KO. They're going to bring in Incineroar, and I'm going to bring in my TOXAPEX. Unfortunately, the game lags quite a bit. Thankfully, it looked like it was mutual, and we're both able to catch up. I'm going to shield the Dark Pulse, as that would do some solid chip damage. In the back, they have Crustle. Crustle, a bit unfortunate, but the nice thing is that they are taking super effective damage from the brines. I commit the shield. Unfortunately, I get baited with an X-Scissor and then accidentally go over 100 energy. Definitely a good thing these are practice battles, so I'm able to shake off the rust with running TOXAPEX. I'm going to fire off another brine. This will be grabbing a shield from the Crustle. I don't have any shields remaining, and this Rock Slide is going to be getting me extremely low. Rock Slide gets me low. I am not able to bank a move. I'm going to bring in Pawniard. They bring in Incineroar. Double kick, absolutely tearing through Pawniard. Pawniard goes for the Iron Head. Is this enough to KO? Yes, it is. Back in comes Crustle. Pawniard able to farm down and clutch an improbable win. Great lead in the next match, Pawniard into Zweilous, and the opponent is staying in, which means they're probably weak to Pawniard somewhere in the back as well. I do need to check and see if they have a poison counter, so I'm going to bank the energy, save switch Nidoqueen, and there's the poison counter in Shadow Hypno. I'm going to farm up to the Earth Power and bait with the Poison Fang. Poison Fang gets a shield from the Hypno, and I'm going to reach one final Poison Fang before they take me out. Now, this Hypno does leave with quite a lot of energy, but the nice thing is that Pawniard wins CMP. So unless they're willing to give up that final shield, which they are not, they lose all of Hypno's energy. Is my opponent going to bring back in the Zweilous? They do not. They bring in Haunter. Haunter looking for the farm down, but Pawniard is just too spammy, able to reach a first Night Slash, get the shield, and able to reach one final Night Slash as well. This is going to be taking out the Haunter. And then I have TOXAPEX to absolutely crush the Zweilous in the back. It doesn't matter what Zweilous throws, TOXAPEX is just too tanky. We tank that Dark Pulse like it's nothing, and I'm able to reach the Sludge Wave. Sludge Wave will be easily taking out the Zweilous, as we're able to clutch the win. Hopping into the next match, leading Pawniard into Runerigus. As I mentioned earlier, this team is triple weak to ground, but Pawniard does actually beat Runerigus, so this is a good lead for me. They're going to fire off the Sand Tomb. I'm going to let that through, as I do tank that relatively well, and I'm going to reach double Night Slash before they're able to reach their second Sand Tomb. First one gets them low. Opponent goes for the catch onto Skuntank. I'm going to hold on to my energy and then fire off the Iron Head. Iron Head deals quite a lot of damage. I'm going to stay in with Pawniard, bank a Night Slash, and then bring in TOXAPEX. My goal is to fully Poison Jab down the Skuntank, even if it is going to be resisted. Unfortunately, my opponent does get the defense drop, which means the second crunch is going to be doing a lot more damage. Either way, I'm still going to be letting that through, going for the Poison Jab farm down, and I'm able to get there. Do they bring in that Runerigus? They do not. They bring in a Confusion Venomoth. And suddenly, this looks very scary because both their remaining Pokemon have incredibly good matchups against Nidoqueen. I'm going to bring in Nidoqueen. These Confusions are absolutely shredding me. I think I kind of have to shield a Poison Fang here just because I need to try and preserve HP if at all possible. I'm going to fire off a Poison Fang onto the Venomoth. Opponent is going to be shielding up. Nidoqueen going to get farmed down, so I'm forced to switch into the Pawniard. Pawniard firing off the Night Slash. Night Slash gets the shield. They're going to fire off a move. I need to shield this, which is really unfortunate. I just have so little HP remaining. Runerigus able to reach the Sand Tomb. That is going to be taking down my Pawniard. Back in comes Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen not able to get to a move as we lose a close game. Hopping into the next match, going up against some Spice as we lead Pawniard into Crocodile. Crocodile, again, is one of the only ground types available in the meta, and it's pretty difficult to get. I build up to the Iron Head, bait with the Night Slash, I get his shield, and I get the boost as well. I decide to be brave, call in a bait, it's just a crunch, and we're able to tank it. I'm going to fire off the Night Slash. This is resisted, but I am boosted. Night Slash gets him low, and the Fury Cutter is able to KO. Opponent may have lagged there a little bit, which is unfortunate. In comes Charjabug. I'm just gonna stay in here with Pawniard. Let's do some damage. Night Slash gets the shield. Charge-a-Bug looking for the farm down, but Pawniard able to reach another Night Slash. This does a ton of damage. Pawniard absolutely taking over this game and able to get 2 shields. In the back, there is Trash Wormadam, and that is unfortunate to see with 2 poison types in the back. But with shields down, Earth Power is able to connect and get them low. Unfortunately, I definitely should have done this in reverse order, where I Poison Fang first and then Earth Power. Again, practice battles, so it's a good learning moment. I'm going to bring in TOXAPEX. TOXAPEX will wall Wormadam's typical charge moveset, so they're forced to go for an Iron Head. That is not going to do a lot. I'm going to let this through as well and just save my shields for Charge-a-Bug. They go for an Iron Head. In comes Charge-a-Bug. At this point, the only way I lose is if they get a Crunch debuff. So I call it. It is the Discharge, but Discharge just does not do enough damage. TOXAPEX is too tanky. I shield the Crunch, able to reach the Brine. Brine will be taking out the Charge-a-Bug, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Pawniard into Shadow Golbat. Very happy to catch the Golbat on the lead because it does very well against my poison types in the back. I'm going to farm up and then fire off the Iron Head as they reach the Shadow Ball. This Iron Head is going to do substantial damage if it lands, which it does, and my opponent is going to fire back with a charge move of their own. I tank whatever they throw, just a Poison Fang. They bring in a Scavalier, nearly taking me out with 2 counters, and I pivot into TOXAPEX. Scavalier is another core breaker for this team, but the nice thing is that both TOXAPEX and Nidoqueen do have win cons against it. I'm going to fire off the Brine. Brine isn't the greatest move ever, but a Scavalier in the Grey League is incredibly glassy. I'm able to get it into the yellow health. I will commit shields in this matchup because they don't have a lot of farm potential. So I'm going to commit the shield, over farm, and then go for the Brine. This Brine will KO if they let it through. Opponent decides to save their shields, and they let that go. In comes Golbat. I'm going to farm up, bring in Pawniard, try and make it to a Night Slash, but I just get outpaced. That's unfortunate. They fire off the Poison Fang. I tap the Night Slash. They bring in Obstagoon going for a snipe, and I'm able to get the Night Slash off. Night Slash does get shielded. My opponent trying to preserve HP on their Obstagoon, but now I have Obstagoon versus Shadow Nidoqueen. This is exactly where I want it. My opponent is going to start firing off Obstructs. They do debuff me while they boost their own defense. I'm going to fire off a Poison Fang so we can reset that defense right back to normal. A Night Slash from this range would hurt, so I will commit the shield. My opponent gets me with another Obstruct. You hate to see it, but I'm able to double up on Poison Fangs because Poison Fang is only 10 turns to get to, whereas Obstruct is 12. I'm able to take them out. Back in comes the Golbat. A little bit of lag there, but I am able to fire off the Poison Fang. Poison Fang gets the shield. I'm going to continue to farm, bring in TOXAPEX, and I'm able to reach the Brine. Brine will be taking out the Golbat and securing the victory. Hopping into the final match, leading Pawniard into Shadow Tyranitar, an incredibly good lead. Opponent will save switch into Galvantula. I'm going to stay in, bank a bunch of energy, and then bring in my hard counter in Shadow Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen is going to resist Galvantula's standard moveset, but my opponent isn't running a standard moveset as they're running Energy Ball. Thankfully, I tank the Energy Ball, and I'm going to be able to fire off the Poison Fang, and Poison Fang is enough to KO the glassy Galvantula. My opponent is waiting their timer, and they're more than likely going to bring back in the Tyranitar. His Tyranitar is going to be able to farm me down before I reach an Earth Power. This Poison Fang is still going to do some solid damage because Tyranitar is just that glassy. Since they're debuffed, I'm going to fire off a Night Slash. This will probably be grabbing a shield, and it does. In the back, they have a Beedrill. I'm going to farm up quite a bit. This is just an X-Scissor, but an X-Scissor hits for neutral here and will get me quite low. I'm going to farm up to the back-to-back Night Slashes, fire off the first, and this should hopefully put Beedrill into farm down range for TOXAPEX. Because my goal is I want to try and leave with close to double Brine, so that way I'll be able to take out the Tyranitar. I will commit the shield. I get baited with an X-Scissor. You hate to see it. They are going to be able to reach a Drill Run. Honestly, I'm going to let this one through. I know I do survive at least one Drill Run, so I'm going to let that through. Commit to the farm down, and I'm very close to the double Brine. Back in comes Tyranitar, but Tyranitar is not going to be able to reach 2 moves. First Brine gets the shield. Second Brine is going to get the KO and clutch the victory. All in all, this team feels like it's going to be very powerful in the Halloween Cup. Shadow Nidoqueen with an energy lead has an absolutely absurd win rate in the Halloween Cup, and the few Pokemon that do actually beat Shadow Nidoqueen when Nidoqueen has an energy lead are typically Pokemon that also beat TOXAPEX, so once you bait it out, then TOXAPEX has a really clear path to closing in the endgame. If you don't have Pawniard, you could also switch it out for a Sableye lead, although the team would be slightly weaker to Dark Poisons or Umbreon, but that would make the team slightly weaker to Galvantula. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible, so thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.